Amanda Leitner, and welcome to Rochester Rising, where we amplify the stories of Rochester entrepreneurs. Welcome to episode 240 of the podcast. Thank you so much for spending some of your time with us today to learn more about small businesses and the culture of entrepreneurship in Rochester, Minnesota. We really hope that you take away something and learn from the entrepreneurs themselves that can help you with your own entrepreneurial journey from today's show. We release a new podcast on Rochester Rising each Wednesday. You can find the podcast in a lot of different places. You can find it on our website at rochesterrising.org, and you can really find it wherever you listen into podcasts. We are there, including Spotify, Apple Podcast, and on YouTube. In addition to these podcasts, we have tons of articles and videos that we've created over the past 5 years, telling the stories of both new and very experienced business owners. You can find all of that and something that relates to you on our website at rochesterrising.org. Rochester Rising is part of a larger organization called Collider, which is a Rochester, Minnesota-based nonprofit that activates, connects, and empowers early-stage entrepreneurs in the community. You can learn more about Collider and how this organization can help accelerate and assist your own entrepreneurial journey at collider.mn. Rochester Rising, the podcast and the storytelling platform, was first started way back in 2016 to tell stories of entrepreneurship that were taking place within this city in Rochester, Minnesota, especially stories that otherwise would not have been told. We take a lot of time to understand each entrepreneur and what their experience has been like in this community. If you find value in this podcast, if you find that you learn something each time you listen in and think that it is something that should continue to exist in the community, please consider donating and helping to keep Rochester Rising going. If you are able to, we do have a tip jar that we run through the local business for giving for all of our fundraising efforts. You can donate one time, you can set up a monthly or even a weekly recurring donation. If you are able to, we would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Your help in keeping Rochester Rising going. You can find more information about our tip jar in multiple different ways. It is on our website. If you are listening into the podcast on our website, there's a button that says donate or tip jar. You can donate through there. And if you're listening on your favorite podcast catcher, not on our website, there is a link in our show notes. So check it out. We would greatly, greatly appreciate your help if you are able. So today we start back with our brand new interviews on the podcast. And we are launching these new interviews with the amazing Darcy Tello, owner of Med City Installation. Darcy worked as a caregiver in the healthcare field for many years before transitioning into a career in floor installation. In April 2019, she started Med City Installation, a commercial flooring installation company, which is her very first business. Med City Installation is a complete family affair. Darcy's first hires were her fiance and brother, and now her daughter is learning the flooring business as well. You won't want to miss out on this podcast today as this powerhouse businesswoman talks about how she started her business, why she's certified as a woman and minority-owned business and thinks others should consider it as well, her appreciation for the freedom she gets with running her own business, and much more. So before we launch into today's podcast with Darcy, we just wanted to acknowledge our sponsor, Clifton Larson Allen, or CLA. The team at CLA would love to get to know you, learn more about your vision, and see if they can help. CLA is a full-service CPA firm with over 100 offices nationally, including right here in Rochester. Sure, they do taxes and audits, but they also focus on helping startups refine their vision, build budgets, work with banks and investors, and track and organize their accounting. They're deeply experienced at building the business systems that allow you to focus on what you do best: getting product market fit, growing sales, hiring talent, and creating a thriving enterprise. Contact Todd Churchill at toddchurchill@claconnect.com or give him a call at 507-280-2317. All right, so now on to podcast episode 240 with Darcy Tello of Med City Installation. All right. Well, I'll start out by asking a little bit about you, Darcy. Can you share a little bit of your background, kind of interests and hobbies? So what kind of makes you as a person?
Oh, geez. I would say I'm natural caregiver. That's my main thing. I'm always, and I love spending time with family. That's a big thing. You know, to spend time on our land in Wisconsin and take the kids out there and bring the dog.
Yeah, no, I totally hear you. I love that. And I feel, especially this time of the year, it's nice to relax a little bit and spend time with family for sure.
Yes.
So yeah, are you from the Rochester area then? And if not, kind of how did you get here and what kind of keeps you here?
Moved to Rochester with my mother when I was in first grade a while ago. My grandparents lived here. My first jobs were here. I have a background in the medical field, working in nursing homes, group homes, things like that. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've done up until flooring a couple of years ago. It was always just the caregiver medical background. And I have a daughter as well. She's 21 now. So it was always pretty much just me and her.
So we wanted to talk about MedCity installation. So for people not familiar with it, can you talk about what MedCity installation is and what services you offer here in the community?
MedCity Installation is a commercial flooring installation business that I started in April of 2019. I do contract with the union. I am also certified with the state. Being a woman and minority, I was able to get my state certification, and I also have my federal certification. So that way I'm able to work on a lot of the different projects, especially right now with Destination Medical Center. They're looking for goals and they're trying to push, as everybody sees and hears everywhere at this time. They really want the woman and minority out there. And that's the businesses that people are really looking for. They want to thrive in that area. And luckily enough, that's my forte. That's what we do. My business with the commercial flooring, we do a lot. We from hospitals to schools to, apartments and things like that. So it varies. It's all different kinds of flooring. We can install rubber flooring, vinyl planks, carpet tile, just numerous things.
So do you serve primarily the Rochester area or Rochester Twin Cities area, or what's kind of do you have a kind of geographic boundary with MedCity installation?
We're pretty busy around the Rochester area and southern Minnesota, but we do travel. And I have no problem, going up northern Minnesota, St. Cloud area, or even, going more west. It's pretty much because I do not provide flooring. I don't sell the flooring. So I have a subcontract. The business is subcontracting. So people hire us to do the labor, to do the install. I don't have a showroom or anything where I can sell the product. So for us being subcontractors, we have no problem traveling anywhere because it's nice. We're able to do that.
So yeah, you brought up your previous time in healthcare as a healthcare, home healthcare aide and healthcare provider. So how did you transition from that into flooring, and how did you originally get kind of interested in flooring and start to make that change? What did that look like for you?
It was actually my fiance. I have been in healthcare since I think I was 15 or 16. A handful of years back or so, I was injured at work, had a back injury. I needed foot surgery and stuff like that because I was just on my feet and it was just getting to the point where it was too much on my body. I had the doctors pretty much say, you're going to have to, do something else. My fiance has been doing flooring for many, 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 many years. And it was kind of a no-brainer to kind of jump in because he was very interested in the union, and we both thought the union was a great thing, being a part of the carpenters union. So it was kind of a no-brainer. An old friend had thrown the idea to us and said, gosh, you guys could even start your own business. And we just kind of ran with it. And it's been a crash course, an amazing crash course for me, because going from the healthcare and then going into commercial flooring, completely different areas, but worth it. And I love that I am in a pretty much like a man's world, and women are popping up left and right in the construction field. And it's great. It's a great feeling.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. Not very many women in it, but seeing more and more in that area. So yeah, I wanted to ask you a little bit about that. So what was the process like to start up MedCity Insulation here in the community? Did either yourself or your fiance have kind of past business experience or a past business? What did that look like? And how did you all connect with kind of your first customers here in the community?
To be completely honest, it was, seriously starting at ground zero, because he has worked for other businesses doing the installing of the floor, but never ran his own business or anything like that. And I thought, what, he can install, I can run the business, we can do this. And it was a lot of Google searches. It was a lot of talking to other people. It was a lot of really having to put myself out there and making myself vulnerable to find how I go about doing this, because I've never ran a business. I don't know I didn't know the first thing about it. So we literally, I just searched and I searched and I searched, and I was able to find out, I did it on my own. I went online, I applied for the business, and it just kind of, the field that I'm in, it's wonderful because I was able to reach out to, say, the Carpenters Union, or I was able to reach out to, other flooring businesses to kind of pick their brain. And I think a lot of people, when they start a business, they look at it as, okay, well, yeah, we're going to be in competition to this person, this person, this person. And they don't look at it as competition as a good thing, to where a lot of businesses, you can go up and talk to them if you're looking to start the same business, and they will give you pointers. They will, lead you the right way, or you should do this, you should do that. I talked to multiple flooring companies in Rochester to kind of find out the ins and outs, or what I should do, or, what's worked well for them and things like that. And they've all been quite helpful.
Yeah, I feel like people are always afraid of that. Like if they start to talk about what they're going to do, that people are going to either steal the idea from them or kind of discourage them or not want to help. And I agree with you. Like that's not how it is. Normally, people typically want to help you and help you succeed. It just kind of helps everybody in the end,
Oh, absolutely.
So I wanted to ask you about your team in MedCity Insulation. So it's yourself, your fiance. Does your daughter help out at all, or what does that kind of look like for you guys?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So when I started the business, it was, my first employee was my fiance. My second employee was my little brother.
Okay.
And then, we've taken on more people since then. And then when the pandemic hit, my daughter worked for many years at Chester's Kitchen and Bar downtown. And, they shut down. Being a restaurant, they shut down. And so we were like, well, she's a go-getter. I wonder if she would be interested. And so I kind of reached out, and I'm like, well, what are your thoughts? Would you want to, install flooring? Would you want to learn that? She dove right in, and she's great. She loves it. She loves it, because even when I was younger, whoever thought about, when you're a young girl, or even just coming into a young woman, whoever thinks, oh yeah, I have the opportunity, I could, work in construction. No, that's not what we see. It's usually you can be a nurse, or you can be a homemaker, or you could be a teacher. You don't think of your hands dirty and, but yeah, no, she dives right in, and yeah, it's great. And a lot of people on job sites love seeing women on job sites. It's just, people are very welcoming. When you're going in and you're the only woman on a project and there are 100 guys there, you either go in it with your head held high, or you're going to get walked on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what you need. You need that backbone, and she's able to do it.
Yeah. So it's a total family-run business too, which I love.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You, like you said in the beginning, you got certified both as a woman and minority-owned business, I believe. What value did you see in doing that? What's the process like for other people listening? Because I feel sometimes when we hear certification, it seems like such a huge task. What was that like for you? What should people be thinking about, and what kind of advantages does it bring to people who go through the certification process?
The certification process isn't as painful as it seems. I was completely overwhelmed when I looked it up to see what everything that I needed, but you do have to have your ducks in a row. I will give you that. But the nice thing is there are so many people within the state that are willing to help you. Like, they're able to walk you through every single process. When I got certified and when I had applied for it, they do a lot more of that up in the cities where, they'll hold classes and things like that. But it was kind of a new thing for Rochester. I think it was more of an up and coming thing, this getting certified and, as a woman business or a minority owned business. So nobody really knew all the answers, but it really isn't hard. You pretty much fill out an application, you show your proof of, yes, I own the business, this is what I'm doing, this is my plan, and so on and so forth. And they really handle the rest. It was a quick process once we got everything that we needed. And it's worth it. And I think a lot of people look at it, well, it's not going to affect me because it sounds like it's just more, construction or, but it's not. People, you got to realize that there are so many things that go into, say, a hotel. There's a new hotel. Okay, well, what if that hotel needs flowers? What if they're ordering flowers regularly? Okay, well, that's a good thing. A woman-owned flower shop, that could be something that they could get certified in, because these businesses are using their business money to get all of these things. So pretty much anything that that a business is going to need could potentially get certified. And that just gives you a higher up. For one of the certifications, the state certification that I have as a targeted, the diverse, the woman and minority owned business, that one, say I go to a project and I go to bid on a hotel and I'm up against 10 other people. Well, because I am certified, what they do is they will add, I believe it's 6% onto the other bidders just to help get me in the door if I could. So if my numbers, if I bid out a job at, say, $50,000 and the next guy did it at, $48,000. So he came in under me. Because I'm certified, they add 6% onto that other business. So then it would then get me in there because it would make my numbers lower.
Mm-hmm. And for you to get these certifications, is there cost involved for people thinking about it? What does that kind of look like?
No.
Okay.
I have never paid a dime for anything. And if you look now with the pandemic, slowing down and things opening back up, there are actually classes that they will hold, say, in Rochester. For instance, I went to one class talking to me about all the different certifications. I want to say it was about a year and a half, 2 years ago. And that was held at the MnDOT location. And it was just people from the cities coming down and, kind of going over the different certifications that you can have, what the qualifications are, or what businesses they're looking at. Because everything, when you get certified and there's a big project, say, 4 hours away from here in northern Minnesota, you're still going to get sent that invite to bid or, be offered that job because you are on that certified list.
Yeah. So it's worth your time is what you're saying. For sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As it's starting to slowly pick up and we're having to meet goals and things like that. But I think it's something that it's really going to be more up and coming. I think it's really, people are really going to look for that.
Yeah.
They're going to look for the certifications and stuff. Right now, I think it's, people are starting to talk about it, but I think, a year or two from now, it's going to be a bigger deal. And I think for people to get certified, I think it's best for them to do it now versus waiting until it's in high demand, because then you have a lot more competition. At least get your foot in the door. Your name is on the state list, and, they can see that you're able, willing, and certified.
You mentioned a little bit about the last year. What was 2020 like for yourself and MedCity Installation?
I would say probably when the pandemic first hit, when everything started really shutting down, it was a matter of, what do we do? Because we can't get on any of these projects, because at that time they were trying to figure out who was deemed, able to work and who wasn't, who was essential and who wasn't. And it was, it was a waiting game, and we didn't know, because when you're working on construction, whether it's new or, there's any renovations or anything, you're still going to be around a lot of people. And so we had a lull for a little bit. We did. But then all of a sudden, with everything shutting down, I got hit hard. And schools left and right, because all these businesses were shut down. So everybody had access to go in and do the renovations, or, all the things that they wanted to do that they were waiting to do, say, over the summer. We were able to get in and do that, earlier in the year. So actually the pandemic kept us pretty busy.
Yeah, I guess I didn't really appreciate that. Things are shutting down, like schools. So you would have access to them to do the flooring that you typically couldn't have, or maybe someone would put it off or not do a remodel. And yeah, I think that was something I didn't really think about too much, but yeah, it definitely makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
What I always like to ask people too is, what drives you to do this? What do you love about working in this type of industry and owning your own business? What brings you back to do this every day?
The freedom. The freedom is a big thing. The freedom to choose what I want and don't want to do. Knowing that I am not only a woman, but, I'm Hispanic, and I'm out there, and I feel like, it's kind of like going out there and breaking down a wall. Mm-hmm. It's going out there and showing that, I'm just as good as somebody else. I'm just as good to do this job as, say, somebody who's 20 years older than me and of the opposite sex. Mm-hmm. My business has been going for 2 years now, over 2 years, and it just completely blows my mind. It completely blows my mind that it's already been over 2 years, and I'm still going, and I'm still going strong. And it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling because think of all the, young women out there, young women and men, that, they don't know what they want to do. And I'm very fortunate with what I have right now. And the nice thing about the flooring, you don't have to go and spend $80,000 at a college to learn how to do it. It's on the job training. Mm-hmm. So you can get out there, you can get front and center. And, if you were to say, join the carpenters union or a union, that training, they take care of you as well. So I've been very fortunate with, the life and the business that I have.
Yeah. Well, that was my last question for you. I'll wrap up by asking you for any final thoughts, and where's the best place for people to connect with yourself and with MedCity Installation to learn more?
They can contact me at my website, medcityinstallation.com. Otherwise, they can call or text me at my phone number, which is 507-951-0427. I have no problem if somebody is looking at, starting a business, has questions about being certified, anything like that, shoot me a text, give me a call. You can email me at mci.rochester@gmail.com. I'm always willing to help. because I've been there. I started at ground zero and I'm still moving. I'm still learning as I go. I'm never going to stop because it's always a learning process. You can always, add more. But I'd love to help out, other young women, other young men to get on their feet and kind of give them the path and the direction to go.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Darcy, today and sharing your story. I really appreciate it.
Yes, not a problem. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much to Darcy for sharing her story with her business, MedCity Installation. What a great conversation. You can learn more about Darcy and her business by checking out the links in our show notes. So to everyone listening in, whether this is your first time or if you are a frequent listener, thank you so much for spending time with us today. If you know an entrepreneur who would benefit from the conversation that we just had, please share this podcast with them. All right, that is a wrap for us at the podcast today. If you enjoyed today's episode, please make sure that you are subscribed in wherever you like to listen into podcast. And if you have a few moments, please rate this podcast so that others can find it. That means so much to us, and we really appreciate your time in doing that. All right, thanks so much for spending time with us today, and we'll be here next Wednesday with a brand new episode.